So delivery for me, in fact, that day, the doctors were telling me to lie down and relax. I could not lie down. That baby refused to allow me lie down. I would stand, I would squat, I would bend, anything but lie down. I did not know that they were talking to me for my own good.
Hey people, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Victoria and I came from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you for clicking on this video, and to my returning subscribers, you know I love and appreciate you guys. Thank you. So I'm super excited today that I am starting this series. Oh god, I'm so excited. So today I have a guest with me on this series and she will introduce herself in a bit. But why I started this series is because I realized that so many of us, yes, including me, did not know how big motherhood is. We did not know what motherhood entails, because growing up I did not see my mother taking care of a child, so I did not know how these things work. I just know that, oh, you get pregnant, you give birth to your child, and you start taking care of your baby. I did not know the process of how pregnancy is, how delivery is, and now the baby is here, what you need to do, the sleeplessness and everything. Like, I didn't know all this. So this is what inspired this series, and I feel like so many people are out there are like me that does not know all these things. And yes, I know that there is no how much book you read or videos you watch that will prepare you for motherhood. But I feel like when you have this information, there is a mental what English will I use now? There's like you are mentally ready that, oh, this and this is what are the possible things I'll face when I am on this journey to motherhood. So that is what inspired this series, and I'll just leave my guest to introduce herself. Okay, over to you.
Thank you very much. Great to be here. Thank you so much for this privilege. And so I'm Fumi Ibitsoye. I'm Mrs. Fumi Ibitsoye. I'm a mother of one. Yes, I have a 3-year-old daughter. She'll be 3 next month, so it's almost 3 anyway. And I'm also a career woman.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of wraps up what I do. There are a lot of sides to me, so I don't want to go into the details, you know.
You can say your market.
Okay, so I have an active career. I've been an insurance practitioner for a while, but I'm currently now in the field of coaching. So motherhood is one of the things that even helped this discovery of, you know, I knew I wanted more from life, and when I was trying to discover my purpose, motherhood kind of triggered me to take action and not delay it any longer. So I am also a YouTuber, yes, although a very recent one.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's about it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for that introduction. Like, Fumi is somebody that I really admire her strength, especially when she was working as an insurance personnel. Like, combining motherhood, going to work that early, like I really give you kudos, because it's a big work. And also Abby is here with me, so like this is a motherhood, really a motherhood video. Abby is here.
Wow, hello,
So,
Abby.
in case you guys are
Yes.
in case you guys are seeing this rapper, yes, I'm on motherhood duty. Anyways, without further ado, let's just get right to some questions I'll be asking her, and she'll be doing justice to that question, because I know she's gonna do justice to them. Okay,
I'll try my best.
My first question is that right from like when you were young, becoming a teenager, growing up to adulthood, were you big on being a parent?
Well, big on being a parent. It's, you know, it's something I expected. I knew that that point will come in my life and I would have to parent. I wasn't opposed to it, but I would not say I was particularly looking forward to it. It was just a part of life that would come. My view had always been that marriage and parenting is just another part of your life that does not really affect every other area. That was my view. Many things have changed, but really, it's not that it affects those other things, but it could change the structure. Yes, it could influence the structure. But I knew I was going to be a parent one day, and I wasn't anxious about it. I wasn't nervous about it. Maybe because I was an older sibling and I started, looking after my younger ones from a very young age. So I always felt it was going to be like that. What I wasn't prepared for was the fact that before they got to that age when I could play the big sister role, there was a phase, and that phase requires a lot of preparation. So that's it. But I wasn't one of those people who wanted a lot of children. No, I just wanted a modest number.
Yeah. For me, I think I just followed the process of life. And one thing is just probably maybe I was scared that will I be able to have a child? Like that was one of my biggest fear when I was young. Yeah. But anyways, let's go to the next question. Okay, so before marriage, I know the answer to this question, but because of the video, let's just
for the viewers.
Before marriage, for the viewer purpose. Before marriage, did you discuss with your husband if you wanted a child immediately, or you guys, or maybe the decision changed after you got married and you said, oh, I want to have a child? No, like first year of marriage, or you guys discussed it that, oh, I want a child, so yeah, and you guys stayed true with your decision?
Okay, so before marriage, we did have this discussion. I think it's a very important discussion that every couple should have, or anyone planning to get married. At the same time, there should be room for flexibility, because you do not control all factors in life. So I knew that I wanted to, we had already planned, and luckily for us individually, we had this goal to wait for the first year, just enjoy the relationship first before bringing the children on board. So it wasn't a difficult conversation to have. It was very easy to reach an agreement on that. But after we got married, that changed. And it changed at the point when the 1 year was up. Because, like I said, I had a very active career. I was also writing professional exams at the time. And it just dawned on me at that period that if I took in at that time, I may go into labor during my examination period. And at that point, we had a discussion about it and decided to move it forward a little longer. So, but you see, there's more to the story, because though we moved it forward, by the time we took in, the pandemic hit, and then, we took in, because pregnancy affects both the man and the woman. It restructures the life of the couple. So it's, by the time we took in and the pandemic hit, the exam was postponed. And then I ended up going for my exam with a very big stomach.
Wow.
So, there's room for planning, but there's also the place of the hand of God. It can change a lot of things.
Like, that is the ultimate. God's timing, not your own timing.
Yes, sir. But I'm glad for the way it played out. Because initially, let me add this. Initially, the reason why we moved the period when we wanted the baby to come forward was because I was not sure how well I'll be able to navigate being a new mom and, writing exams. So I wanted to finish the exams, and then know that this motherhood phase, I have fewer things drawing my attention. But eventually, the exam I wrote with my big stomach was not so successful, and I had to repeat that exam. And I had to repeat the exam with a child. But if that phase didn't happen, I guess my self-confidence, you know, in my ability to juggle motherhood and career may not have shot up the way it did, because eventually what I was afraid of was what I did. I had to write that exam with child, you know. I was a nursing mom, and I still had to write an exam, and I made my papers at that point, which was something I was really afraid of. But it made me know that I could do it. Motherhood has not changed.
Yes.
You know, I could handle it.
Yes.
When this responsibility comes.
You can do whatever you want to do, whether with a child or without a
Yes.
child. So if you set your mind at it, though,
yes,
you can
exactly.
do it. Yeah.
One of my coaches says that motherhood, being married, you know, being a wife and being a mom is not our purpose. Rather, it is part of our design. So that means you can pursue your purpose and still be a wife and a mom, because it's part of your design. You have it in you. You have the capacity to do it.
Yeah. Preach. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Okay, so my next question would be, how did you feel when you found out you were pregnant, and how was pregnancy like?
Oh, when I found out I was pregnant, I was too excited to keep it. You know?
For me, my husband knew, Sha. He has been telling me, I think you're pregnant. I think you're pregnant. I was like, Woli, calm down. We're coming down. Let me confirm.
So for me, what happened, the month before I got pregnant, my period came in late, and when I checked, it wasn't pregnancy. So when the next month, the period was late again, I was like, maybe it's the stress of this period, you know, that is affecting my period. So I didn't, you know, put a lot of attention to it. But when it was like 30-something days and no show, I decided to take a test. That what's the worst? If you see it and it's a no, you move on. So I took the test, the home test, and it turned out positive. I was so excited. I couldn't think of how to plan a surprise, you know, the wonderful way to break the news. I was so excited to comport myself to do all that. I just needed to share it with my partner. So, like I told him almost immediately, I think that same day, I just broke the news to him, and he was also excited. But yeah, talking about the way I felt,
the journey,
and then the journey, those are two different things. You know, sometimes during the journey, you just wish you could pass the pregnancy to somebody else to help you carry it. I didn't have a very smooth.
You can say that again.
The first trimester was a bit rough for me. I had a very terrible case of morning sickness. And it was bad because I didn't even have any exposure to morning sickness before. The only exposure I had to morning sickness was what I had seen in Nigerian movies. So I had never experienced anybody, you know, having that symptom in my presence. So when it came, you know, and then it was getting worse and worse, and then they started saying it's normal. I'm like, which kind of normal? I've been seeing pregnant people all my life. They are not like this, you know.
I don't get
vomiting from morning till evening, no break in between, whether you eat or you don't eat.
As in, morning sickness does not mean that it's only in the morning have the morning sickness.
Yes, so
can be any time of the
day.
Yes,
it's really destabilized my life. You know, my work. There are days I would go to the office one day, and then the next day I'm too weak to come in. And days when I would only spend half day in the office. It's a miracle that, you know, somehow in the midst of all this, God kept my job. You know, I give God the glory for that.
Yeah.
But I also believe that what you do before you know, life happens. It may not be pregnancy for you. It can be anything. Life happens, and sometimes you're not able to give your best at your work for a period of time. But if you've been giving your best and everybody knows that this person performs well in those low period, you are likely to get more support from the system than judgment. But if you've been slacking off even when nothing is wrong, when something is wrong, that becomes an opportunity for them to show you the door. Yeah.
For me though, my pregnancy journey was like so different. Like I didn't really have morning sickness. Like I don't know what you're talking about. What's morning sickness? Like I didn't know what all that. You know, like when people talk about their extreme morning sickness, how they were in the hospital like for the first 3 months, I say, me one cousin saw. Because me, I was just eating anyhow.
I tap into that grace. I tap into that grace for my next one.
Maybe all the vomit I threw up. Maybe it's not even up to 5 times throughout all the pregnancy. Wow. So I don't understand morning sickness.
But not to cause anyone to be fearful. I mean, after the first trimester, it stopped, you know, and gradually.
But some people have morning sickness throughout their pregnancy.
Yes.
Like I've heard stories like that.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But one thing I know is motherhood doesn't, like I said, it would affect the structure a bit, but it doesn't change it. It was during the time when I went through the journey that I then understood, because there was someone in my workplace who was a team lead, but every time she took in, she would not be in the office for months, and the next most senior person in the team would have to run the team for that period until she gives birth. So later when I asked, I found out that pregnancy, you know, it shook her, it shakes her, not one, every of her children. That was the norm. So when the morning sickness was getting worse, I was afraid that, hey, hope this is not what will happen to me. But thankfully, after the first trimester, I started getting myself, my energy level started increasing gradually, and I was able to function again. Yeah.
Like pregnancy journey can be draining and it can be sweet. It's just. But anyways, our next question is, how was labor like for you? For me, I didn't really go into labor like that. Like it was like, you know, first time mom, you will be like, is this labor? It's not labor. Like, is my water going to break? Or like, it's just blurry. Like you never know when these things happen. But how was it for you? How was labor like for you?
Yeah, so before I go into this, I would just want to put this out there. You know, during your pregnancy period as a woman, pursue knowledge. Study, read as much as you can about the phase that you are in and the phase that will follow, so you're prepared for it.
Yeah, for me, I watch a lot of videos, but no video or book prepares you for that day, to be honest. So no book or videos prepare you.
Yeah, so it's really, it would prepare you, but it cannot compare with reality, you know. Yeah, but it would help you in certain areas to know what to do. Because for me, when I was full-time, I studied all the symptoms of being, you know, contraction. I learned about Braxton Hicks contraction and all of those things, and the signs to look out for. So about Labor Day, let me talk a bit about that. So I went into labor in the midnight, I think around 2 or 3 a.m. I realized that I was having contractions. Before that, yes, I had been having false contractions, but based on the recipe, you know, checking when I mean recipe, the guides that are available on how to know whether your contraction is the real thing or not, I knew those were not the real thing. So, but on the D-Day when the contraction started, so I woke up and then I started monitoring it to know whether it was the real thing or not, you know. And what was the way I was monitoring it? The timing. I was checking the timing between contraction. Is it getting shorter or is it getting longer? So the timing continued to reduce. And then by the time I saw that the timing between each contraction was about 4 to 5 minutes apart. And it happened like that like consecutively between 3 contractions. So I knew that, okay, this is the real thing. And then but at that point, I just started preparing to leave the house for the hospital. I started getting ready, and then I headed to the clinic. However, I know that this is not always the case. I have had instances of friends who didn't experience contraction at all, but the baby was contracting already, but they were not feeling any symptoms at all. So you cannot always rely on those things. You also need to monitor the timing. You know, if you're already 39 weeks, 40 weeks, just go to the hospital to check as often as you need to be sure.
Exactly. So, that was one thing I was doing. Like any small change like this, I'm already in the hospital.
Yes. It's so, better. Better to be safe than sorry. Yes. So,
than sorry, as in
But like I said, nothing you read prepares you for that day. When I got to the hospital, it was as if when I got to the hospital, another level of contraction landed on me. The pain was on another level. And then there were other people around me who were also in labor. So it was like, I got there and I saw people who had been there the night before. And I'm like, the night before, okay, no, God, the prayer I've been praying with you is short labor. I don't want a long labor. I don't have the strength for prolonged pain. Just keep it short. So by the time I got to the hospital and the doctor checked me around 6 a.m., I was already 7 centimeter dilated. So I knew that yes, this is it. It's happening now.
We are getting there.
Yes. But you know, the rest, they say, is history. The baby arrived. God honored my prayer for a short labor. By 8 a.m., our baby had arrived and we're good. Yeah.
We thank God for that. So, the next question. Did your delivery, do you deliver on your delivery date? Like, because some people say, my delivery, like your delivery date that you were given when you went for your scan.
No.
Did you deliver on that date?
No.
Like, I think almost everybody does not deliver on their delivery date, because mine was like the dates usually vary. So I think any date they give you, it always falls in between those days. Like the first scan you will do is probably the one you put in mind that, okay, this is the time I'll give. I'm going to put to bed. And I think I watched a video and that person said it's always good to run a scan in your first trimester, because that is the most accurate, in quotes, most accurate date for you to deliver. Like, even though you didn't deliver on that date, like 1 + 2 + 2, so you like within those range.
Yeah, well, so the view on how to know your most accurate due date actually varies from one medical professional to the other. I remember during my time, every time I asked when is my due date, they would tell me, don't you know when you saw your last period? So the doctors advised, and I consulted in more than one hospital, but the view was the same, that the most accurate is for me to count 40 weeks from when I saw my last period.
From your... But some people don't last 40 weeks in their pregnancy. So, some people give birth 39 weeks. Yes,
so the 40 weeks is, you know, pregnancy is normally estimated at 40 weeks, but there is a plus or minus 2 weeks. So that means, so the way it is, at 37 weeks, your baby is already fully formed. So between the 38th week to the 42nd week, your baby is to come out. So you can go, once you're 37 weeks, make sure you are ready to go. In other words, if the pregnancy, if the baby is ready to come out, it's not that moment you are trying to buy this or pack that. Make sure you are ready to go.
Exactly.
So the baby can
come. Ready. Yes. Your bags are packed.
That's it. So the baby came out 38 weeks for me. For some people, it's 41 weeks, it's 42 weeks. As long as you fall between 38 weeks to 42 weeks, you are still fine. But even in the hospital, once it's 41 weeks and the baby is not out, the doctors will put you under close monitoring to be sure that the baby is in sound condition. Because sometimes you are waiting for the baby for contraction and the baby may have stopped breathing. But that regular checkup helps to ensure that things like that, you know, the chances of things like that are limited. But there are some people who naturally have delayed birth. You know, there are some people that they will tell you all their children came out at more than 42 weeks. The earliest was probably 42 weeks. So some people are like that. You have to, sometimes I think maybe gene or whatever plays a role in these things.
Yeah, I see. Okay, so how was delivery like for you? Was it what you expected?
Hey, nobody can expect
what I got.
Nobody can expect what is coming. So delivery for me, in fact, that day, the doctors were telling me to lie down and relax. I could not lie down. That baby refused to allow me lie down. I would stand, I would squat, I would bend, anything but lie down. I did not know that they were talking to me for my own good. Because when the baby was ready to come out, I was tired, no energy to push.
Wow.
But you know, we cannot downplay the God factor when it comes to delivery, because the process of which a child is formed in the womb is spiritual. No human being can do anything about it. It's not in how well the man can shoot or how good a goalkeeper the woman is. You know, it's divine, it's God. And so for the baby to come out, a big baby to come out of that tiny hole, it's also divine. It's God. One of the things I made up my mind on delivery was, for me, what is important is that I and my baby come out of here healthy and alive. So I was not particular about the method of delivery. I just want to deliver a baby. But of course, I also did not want fear to cause me to make decisions that I would regret. So that day, I just kept praying, God, help me not to be afraid. Like, help my faith not to drop. Strengthen my faith. That was my prayer. My prayer was not let this baby come out safely. I know that if the faith is affected, that baby may be affected. So I was protecting my faith. God strengthened my faith that on this day, I would not now lose faith, you know. And at that moment, while I was there, you know, God also positioned people who were praying for me, even though I didn't know. So suddenly I felt strength, you know, like a burst of strength inside my body. I was actually, so I was in the hospital, I was trying to push, and then I would try, and then the energy would run out in like 2 seconds. So I wasn't even making progress. It was as if I couldn't even breathe to my chest level, not to talk of for the baby to come out. And in that moment, my brother just sent his phone through one of the nurses on duty that, you know, his pastor wanted to pray with me. So I collected the phone and put it on speaker because I was not in a composed mode to be able to hold the phone. So I put the phone on speaker and then he was praying. And as he was praying with me, I just felt this burst of energy inside my body. I'm sure he was not the only one praying with me, because immediately I went into labor. I had also notified my pastors. We had notified family and friends. So everyone was praying. You know, you can't over-pray. You cannot over-pray.
At all.
And when the energy came, I just told the nurse to help me drop the phone somewhere. So they just dropped the phone somewhere, and I started pushing. And the doctors were shocked. Like, few minutes ago, you did not even have the energy to push. And next thing we know, the baby's head is coming out. And that was how I delivered that baby. So, as I said, the process, it's divine. Everything around that face, it's divine. It's not, I am strong. No, that day, it's God help me. That's the day of God showing me mercy.
Your strength will fail you.
Yes, your strength. I did not know that I was that weak, you know. Every counsel that people had been giving me during pregnancy that I did not pay so much attention to. On that day, I began to wonder, oh, if I had done this, would it have been better? If I had eaten this, would it have been easier?
Yeah. So, I know that feeling, right?
Yeah.
Delivery is like, for me, I was so scared. Like, I had to call my pastor. Like, God bless that man for me, because my pastor, he does not go to hospital. Like, call him that you are dying. If he don't come to that hospital, he will rather pray for you on the phone than coming inside. Like, he does not like to enter hospital. But when pregnancy is just so lonely that in this part of the world, you can't really tell people that, oh, I'm going to give birth or I'm pregnant until you have given birth to the child.
Yes.
Before you start telling like so many people, right? So like people did not know I was going into delivery. I want to go and give birth to my child. I said my husband, my pastor, and my parents, and my husband's parents, obviously. Nobody knew, and there was nobody I could, explain what I'm going through at that moment with. And I just called my pastor. Pastor, this is what is happening. Like, my pastor came to the hospital.
Wow.
I could not believe it. He entered delivery room.
Wow.
Like, I could not, it was, I can never forget that day. Like, he came and he was like, he just prayed that, because I was going for C-section, because I was 4 centimeter dilated, and they were like, my blood pressure was just going up. I was like, what is this one now? From 150, it went to 160, it went to 170, and they were like, you can't push like this, you can't, like, no. And they gave me drugs to suppress the blood pressure. It was not going down, and they were like, no, you can't you can't push your baby out like this. And when I already told him all these things on phone, because we were still waiting, maybe
to calm down,
do the vaginal birth, right? And it will come down. So when I called him and told him blood pressure is not going down, he was like, okay, still wait a bit. And by the time he came, they were already preparing me for the theater, and he was just like, because him too did not even want me to go for C-section, but he was like, this is God's will. And he just prayed and said, God, go with me and everything. And my pastor waited till when they brought the baby out. I was like,
wow,
is this how special I am to
God
this
bless
man?
pastors
I
for
can't
us.
even imagine. And then I was so glad when I opened my eyes and they were like, pastor saw baby before he left. I was like,
wow.
You say what?
Wow.
Like, God bless that man for me. Delivery is just another ball game of motherhood.
Yes.
So let's go to the cocoa of why we are here, because most people want to, like, okay,
if you don't mind me adding, one of the things that when I went into labor, I was at my parents' place, and that was because I was supposed to go to the office that week. So I needed to be at their place, which was closer to my office. My husband had just dropped me at their place the day before, and then I went into labor that night. My husband's phone that has never been switched off was switched off when I was in labor. So though in my head, I had planned that when I go into labor, it's just me and my husband, will not notify anybody, you know. When we've given birth, that's how we tell everybody. Now I couldn't reach him. I didn't have a choice than to notify his family that I'm at the hospital. So I was at my parents' place, so automatically they knew, because they were the ones who took me to the hospital. And then I notified his family that I'm at the hospital. They said the baby is coming out today, but my husband's phone is switched off. So I'm already getting tired. You guys should just keep trying to reach him and let him know that this is where I am. So sometimes when he turned on his phone, he just knew. He said he couldn't sleep all through that night. So the moment he turned on his phone, everybody had been trying to call him. There were messages and everything. So he just started coming to the hospital. And you know the beautiful thing? He got to the hospital before the baby came out. By the time I was in the labor room, my husband had...
yeah, this is the question, go, that we have all been waiting for. All those ones we are talking has been preamble, okay? Now we have our baby. And you know, everything is now So for you, how was life after having your baby? Like from the first day after delivery till now, how has been life with a child?
Wow, interesting. Really,
it's long, but help us to compress it.
Okay, so life having a child, you know, when I got back home, I think the first phase I had to deal with the sleep routine. Then they tell you sleep when the baby is sleeping. And we are wondering, if I sleep when the baby is sleeping, when am I supposed to eat? When am I supposed to wash the baby's clothes? When am I supposed to clean up the house? You know, especially if you don't have anyone with you to help you do these things, then that's doesn't really work, you know. So, but then, you know, moving between tiredness. I remember after the first 3 months, because in my workplace, I got 3 months maternity leave, as was the norm. And I was really afraid, like, by the time I resumed back to work, how am I going to juggle this with a baby? And during that period, I was still working remotely. So it was like, how do I juggle office work and baby? But one way or the other, we juggled it. And, you know, it's like I said, it's an interesting journey. You learn to make sacrifices. You learn to prioritize. You learn to not take life too seriously. If you can't sweep today, sweep tomorrow. Nobody's coming to beat you.
Like,
you know, like
God bless
sometimes you are really tired.
Like, you cannot do everything in one day.
Yeah.
You can't.
So I had to learn to look
this body
past
will just
some
break
things.
down.
True. I had to learn. Then, of course, having a supportive partner, you know.
That's
my daughter, I remember there was a time when she was staying up to like 2-3 a.m. at night before she would sleep. So what we did was we took it in turns. I would stay with her for a while, carry her. When I'm tired, I'll pass it to her dad. He would do another 2 hours. When he can't handle it again, he'll come and wake me up. I would take over from there, you know. So when we had guests, the guests are added to the routine. We all shared the responsibility.
So Yoruba is saying, you two will do the work. And that is very, very important. You know, as a mother, we feel like nobody can do it like the way we do it. Don't even bring that one to mother.
Don't be afraid don't be afraid to ask for help.
They must do it. Let them come and do it. You use that time to rest.
Yes. I had to learn how to ask for help. You know, we hear this word delegate, but it was like something I did at work, but it wasn't really a part of my personal life. Motherhood taught me that delegation is a skill that you need in every aspect of life. So doing motherhood, I had to learn, and then fortunately I was a team lead at that time. So I had to learn to delegate tasks at work so that I'm not carrying on so much. I had to learn to ask for help at home also, so that somehow in between I find a balance. And when I was preparing for my exams, I also tried not to take more than I can chew, you know. I registered for the number of papers I think I can manage. I attended tutorials to assist me, you know. I didn't say, oh, I had attended those tutorials before and I failed. I'll just read the note on my own. You know that you are going to be taking care of a baby as long as you're at home. So get out of the house and go for that tutorial. Escape to, you know, focus. Sometimes you just need that break. You really need it.
So like,
until now,
motherhood is a full-time job that there is no break. But, you know, sometimes go and drop them with your parents. Yes, you are the one that give birth to the child. It's your sole responsibility. But sometimes that friend that you always say, bring baby, go and give that child to that friend. Because by the time them two are having their own child, they want to bring their own child. Let them start practicing from now so that you can breathe. Like, motherhood no easy, you know, easy as some people used to portray. Like especially social media, they always show you, oh, the easy part, beautiful part, them slaying with their child. But when you go home, it didn't day like that.
You know, there's need for structure also. You know, one thing I've discovered about babies is that babies like routine. If you can create a routine for your child and maintain it, it would actually reduce your stress. By routine, I mean, for example, making sure that you wake your child up the same time every day. Let the child go to bed the same time. Let the child have a consistent eating time. So if it is every 2 hours, every 3 hours, don't stagger it. Let it be fixed. So their body begins to adjust to that routine, and it helps you to then begin to structure your own life to fit into the gaps that you are able to create within those periods that you have to take care of the child. Then also, like you said, send the child to your parents' place. They took care of you. They took care of your husband. And you both of you saw each other. I liked what you saw. Let them continue the job. Yes, even if it's for a day, even if it's for 2 days, even if it's for a few hours. There are instances when we'll drop the child, you know, with our grandparents, with the grandparents in the morning, and then go back and pick the child in the evening. And as the child grew older, we began to reduce it. So, yeah, you're hearing the sound. My daughter is back. You
like
know?
Anything you are doing,
my short space is gone.
No, they change. Like it's a motherhood video, so there is no perfection in here. So our babies will disturb, so we have to deal with it at this point.
Yes, so that's another thing that I learned. You know. Before, one of the struggles I had was that I was trying to separate work from family. So now there's a need to separate, but what I mean is, if you're working from home, you know, there are times when your child will need your attention, and maybe you're on the call on a work call. See, it is part of life. Don't be too hard on yourself. I used to be too hard on myself. Then I called some of my coaches to reach out to them on the struggles I was having. And right on the call, their children were seeking for attention. And it occurred to me that everybody is dealing with it. But if you're working remotely, you just have to find a way to manage both. And you cannot entirely separate family from work if you're working remotely. If you want to separate family from work, get into the office.
Yes, exactly. If you know that you don't want to mix parenting, motherhood or fatherhood with work, then get an office. Like there's no two way about it. Like motherhood is like a whole video on its own, but we have tried to just compress it to make you understand that everything you see on social media, it didn't work that way. Oh, it didn't work that way. Like when you now have the child, that is when you now know that
I to put my book
right. So let's just have our last question for the day, because we have taken so much time already. So my last question will be that do you experience postpartum depression? Because I have seen like few women that said that they said they did not experience postpartum depression, and people that experience it, like they don't really talk about it. And I feel like it is something that happens to like so many women, and people don't really talk about it that much. So I want you to tell us if you had postpartum experience,
just a moment, please.
Depression. I want you
just
to
give mommy a few
share
minutes,
that
okay?
experience with us.
See, no. Okay, stay with mommy, baby. Just keep quiet and listen, okay?
Okay.
Good girl. So, talking about postpartum depression, yes, you know, medical research shows that the first few months after delivery, the risk of postpartum depression is very high. And not just for the woman, but even for the man. Research shows that 50% of men whose wives suffered postpartum depression also suffered similar. So, when it comes to postpartum depression, yes, so it was a research I stumbled across, so I was shocked. So it's something that as a couple, you need to be a support system to each other. But understanding that you're both vulnerable to PPD means that you also need to have other support structures in place. You know, family and friends, have other people that you can talk to during that phase, so that you are not thinking, my husband is supposed to be here, he's supposed to be supporting me, and probably he's going through his own too and trying to get himself, you know, in order. So yes, for postpartum depression, I did run into that, and one of the causes for me was, I will use the word surprises. So there were things that I had planned regarding how my nursing stage would be like, and those plans didn't work out that way for factors that were beyond my own control. But it wasn't that we could not have changed it, but somehow we were not seeing on the same page. And while I felt I want to be at home, this is not where I want to be. My husband was of the opinion that, let's go by the elderly advice and flow with whatever they say. So I was in a situation where a lot of things were not going the way I planned. But if you know me well, you will know that I like to stay at home. Like, I like being in my own house. No matter where I go, even if I get home 12 midnight, I would rather come back home. That was my kind of person. And then imagine being moved out of the house during the early, few days after I gave birth, and being compelled to stay outside of my marital home. It was very distraughting for me, and I fell into deep depression. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I didn't talk to people, I was just staying on my own, and it was getting worse. I didn't even know that was PPD because I wasn't so exposed to postpartum depression. I heard that term, but
yeah, that's the thing. Because I have had I'm still having my own fair share of it. But when this thing starts, you will not know that that is what it is called. That this is what you are experiencing.
Our mindset of what depression is, once we are not experiencing that, we just believe that, it can't be depression. Thankfully, I had other friends who were mothers earlier than I was, and when I was sharing with them what I was going through, they made me understand that I was having postpartum depression. So I went to read more about it, and I found out that it was very true.
Okay, that's
choices,
what.
I began my way towards healing.
Okay.
Hide and keep to yourself that, oh, I don't want people to know. Talk to other people, you know. That's how you get better.
Yeah, this I'm so really excited about what you have said. Like, this has just been an exciting day for me, and I have even learned few things from everything you have said. I just want to thank you for coming, being our first guest on this series. Like, I really appreciate it. Like, you don't know how many lives you are like giving these lessons to. Like, okay, we let them have a picture of what this motherhood stage is like, because it's not really that funny like that. But when you see your child and everything, taking care of your newborn, seeing them grow, like, it's very exciting. But the work it's not easy like that. Okay, so I'm really thankful for you taking out your time where there is no time. You can see babies are disturbing us here and there, and we just had to do this. Okay, so thank you so much for coming. Do you have any final words for us?
Okay, well, my final words would be to society. By society, I mean people generally, family members, friends. When someone is going through, you know, when you see a mother caring for a child, try to be supportive. That's not the time to judge them as to how they are doing it. There is no perfect way of parenting. Like, I used to encourage myself. I said there is no award for super mom. Everyone is just trying to be the best mom that they can be. So let's be supportive of others. Let's not judge other people. One day I was taking my child to school, and another woman was taking her child in the other direction. And someone was trying to correct her on how she was holding the child, which was not bad in itself.
As in, all these people,
that was not bad in itself.
Their
it was
own talk, all this.
It was the next statement. The man said, should you not have known? People. And I felt like, could she not have forgotten? You know, do you know how many things she's trying to juggle in that moment? So let's be supportive of parents.
This I too know people is a whole talk entirely. Whole talk.
Yes, and also
the way they judge mothers.
To respect parents' decision on how they want to raise their children.
Yeah, that's
you have raised yours, and if you've not raised yours and you're trusting God for a child, I pray that God's mercy finds you soon and you have yours. But while you are waiting, please don't judge other people. Embrace people. Try to help the way you can, and if you can't help, just keep quiet. Smile more, encourage them more, rather than being judgmental. Say well done, you know, tell them it's a phase, it will go shortly. Don't try to make it more difficult than it already is for parents. So that's my concern to the parents out there, especially the mothers. I'm rooting for you. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job, you know.
So thank you.
It's not easy. It's not easy. But you know, remind yourself it's part of your design. You can do it. The Bible says that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. So you can do it. Encourage yourself. And if it's getting too tough, you can do what I do. I count down to how many years that is left.
Can you imagine?
I told myself it's one day less today. It's almost over. It's one day less today. Yes, that's it.
Yes,
and take breaks. Take breaks. Go on
as
vacation. Treat yourself. If
you can afford it,
no, a vacation doesn't necessarily mean something expensive. It could just mean go to your parents' house and don't go with your child. Maybe you and your partner decide to split it. Okay, this weekend, let me go away. Next weekend, you will go away. Just for us to breathe. It's not an everyday thing, but as a couple, you both need that your personal space once in a while. Sometimes you just do it. Sometimes it may not be a whole day. It can just be a few hours, maybe 6 hours. You know, I just give yourself space. Just go out without having to carry the children everywhere. So do that for you.
Yeah.
Don't stop taking care of yourself.
Thank you so much. Yes.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you. Thank you for the privilege.
I'm so happy for having you on our channel. Please, you guys should follow our YouTube page also. I'll leave it on the screen so that you guys can also check out our channel. Thank you so much for joining me on the first episode to Journey to Motherhood.
Thank you. Thank you.
We hope to see you again on our channel.
It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here. I'll be so glad to come back again. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video to other people so that they can, you know, share from the wealth of experience that our guest has shared today. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I know it's super long, but it's worth it. All right, so share your lovely comments in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next episode of Journey to Motherhood. Bye, guys.
Bye.